Hello?
Yeah, it looks like your mic is off.
It is.
It's cutting out a bit.
It was cutting out because I turned the mic off. So just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like your mic is off.
It is.
It's cutting out a bit. So, is it okay? Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Thank you for being there. Kiatrick, or Julien. I'm a Construct2 user for about 3 years now, about when it was first released to public. And I've been making games and providing support, help, tutorials and stuff like that on the Skyra forums and websites and a bit all over the internet ever since. You can find my website at http://kiatrick.com and on Twitter as well at Kiatrick. And you can find me as well on the Skyra.com forums. So I'm going to make an introduction this evening to game making with Construct2, which is an HTML5 game making tool for Windows. So let's start off with what is HTML5. It's a technology that sits within the browser. It means that whenever you are downloading a modern browser, like Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer to a certain extent, you are having HTML5 embedded within. So it means that the JavaScript is the browser's language, and an advantage is that you don't need to download any extra plugin or extension like Flash or Unity does. From the moment you are using and downloading your browser, you can execute JavaScript directly within, and so do JavaScript game and game you have made with Construct2. Another advantage is that the language support evolves and is updated alongside the browser. And so with browsers like Chrome and Firefox, which have quite fast release cycle, you are taking advantage of continuous development and new features that come inside on a regular basis. There are still some drawbacks, and it is linked to the fact that it's within browser. So you are bound to what the browser supports, like inputs, features, file format, performances, etc. So, for example, older computers, like still under Windows XP, may have troubles with HTML5 technology, whereas newer computers will be perfectly fit to execute it. And due to that, it's important to always make sure the graphic card drivers and your browsers are up to date and up to the latest versions as possible. And so, this is a quite untidy slide. So this is a HTML5. Yes, it actually is. I am within my browser, and this is actually a kind of application that I've made with Construct. So this slide I made with Construct2, and it means that I can even have a kind of little game that I've made along, and it works pretty well, and it makes for funny slides that I can move and modify away. So just to finish up on this little part, Construct2 is an HTML5 game making tool for Windows operating system. It's a commercial product, but it has a free version that has some limitations, kind of like a limited demo, that you can use for education and just try out and used for non-commercial game making. So you can make free games within the limitations, and it's doable. It will be small scope games, but you can do it and can have your first dive into game making thanks to the free version. This free license just doesn't allow you to make money from those games. If you want to go in and have more professional aspects to it, you can go and buy a personal license. You can do it as an individual developer or a small startup, and there is a threshold of $5,000. From the moment you haven't still made this money, you can have access to the personal license. And if you are a registered business or an individual that was using the personal license and made already $5,000, you need to upgrade to the business license. It's all doable from within Construct 2 websites. They do have a store, so it's on Skyra.com, and they do have a store that you can get all the licenses, and you can see that from not too long ago they are also selling assets and other resources that are pretty interesting for developers. Construct 2 is made to work on Windows, but you can use it on virtual machines on Mac and Linux using Parallels desktops. While we have had users that have success in doing so. To be honest, I'm not a specialist at that point, so if you want more information on that very specific point, I will send you back to the forums of Skyra, where there are some users who can give you information, and you have already topics that cover the subject. And that's it for this quick slide introduction. As I was saying, it's being made in Construct 2, so here it is. Just to give you a little a first idea of how it's looking for, you have there the layout view, which is about all the elements that I'm having in my slide. So I have several layers. As you can see, I can hide those layers. This is the layout, which is my scene. And it's very much like the Microsoft Office tools, where you have a very visual aspect to it. So I can click on the project on the right, and in the left tab I'm going to have properties. And since I clicked the project, I have properties that are really bound to my project. So for example, this name, which also happens to be the name in the tab when I'm previewing, the version, quick description, author, etc., and more project and programming oriented properties like the window size, so the width and height of the window. As you can see there, my project is actually depending on the size of my browser, thanks to the property full screen in browser, which is set to letterbox scale. You have several other values that you can use, for example off, and you will see the difference right away. There I have a fixed size that is determined by the project size property. And everything works that way within Construct. Everything has properties that you can set up at edit time within the editor, and that you can then modify at runtime, so when you are, for example, previewing within your browser. And you do so thanks to a very simple event system that is more the code side of things. So you can see my slide 1 as one simple event sheet, yes, slide 1. I've named the layouts and the event sheet myself. It's my own properties. You can name it however you want. It's up to you. and you can set up your preferred preferences with your team or yourself. I include an event sheet named Common, in which I have a few events that will be integrated within this current event sheet and executed. They are executed at the place it is included, and an event sheet is read from top to bottom. You can see on this event sheet I only have triggers, so you can see the little red, little green arrow, my bad, next to the condition. That actually means that it's a kind of event that will be triggered, and in this case, the first event there is a system on start of layout. So it means that whenever the layout is first executed, those actions will be executed, and it's the only time of this layout execution that those actions will be. And in there, I'm taking advantage of the mouse object, which is an input object that allows me to control actually the mouse input. And I'm setting the cursor to normal. And this is because in the slide 3, where I have my turret and little enemies, at some point I set my mouse cursor. Where is it already? It's there. I changed the cursor to be of the form of the sprite cursor. I can, yes. I will zoom a bit on the event sheet. Is it better with this size? So to zoom, actually, I'm holding down the control key and just changing the mouse wheel up and down, and you can do so as well in the layout. So it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty useful, especially. And whenever you press Control and the numeric key 0, you go back to the normal zoom. And you can also have access to this into the view ribbon. So I have set it to automatically disappear, hide itself, but you have the zoom in, zoom out, and zoom to 100%. That works in the event sheet and in the layout view. And well, to come back on the common event sheet, for example, so on start of layout, which is my condition to my event number 1, and then I have my action there, mouse set cursor to normal. Another action is when I left click on the button txt Syra URL. So actually this text there, I've made it so that it will take you and go to the Skyra.com forum. So to do so, you are using the browser object that was added to the project and that has several actions. So it's a bit, it can be a bit dark still and obscure at the moment. So let's go and just close this project. I will go back to it and show you how actually Constructor presents itself when you are using it. So the first thing you arrive to is the start page. It's working thanks to Internet Explorer. I wonder if I can zoom. I can zoom in as well, so you can see more about it. In the top, you have the release number. So release 184 64-bit. Construct 2 can work on 32-bit computer and 64-bit computer as well. As I said, it's Windows system mostly, and with some hack and tweakering, you can still have it working on other systems, but it has been designed first and foremost for Windows. So you can start a new project, open a project. You have the recent projects you have been working on, so you can see some of the project files I've been working on. And you have a few project examples the Space Blaster, the Ghost Shooter, and as well as other examples.